Hi everyone. This isn't my normal kind of video, but I have been using a fountain pen more and more to journal with, and I have been using it to draw with. And there are different options with refilling a fountain pen. This particular pen you can buy a converter for, which means that you can suck the ink up into it so that you can use whatever kind of ink you want. You can also buy cartridges. It has a cartridge in it because that's what came with it. And in researching this, I found out that you can refill this cartridge rather than purchase a converter by using a syringe with a blunt tip needle. And that way you can get whatever kind of ink you want. And it just so happened that I want to use a more permanent ink, and so I wanted to try this one. This is an American-made ink. It's called Noodler's ink, and this one happens to be one of their bulletproof lines, which is supposed to be pretty much waterproof. I'm not sure whether or not that's what I want, but I think it is in researching inks. I will tell you that this pen and cartridge need to be rinsed out. I'm going to show you how you take it apart. Let me get these up out of the way. You actually just pull the cartridge out, and then I will go and I will hold this barrel piece underneath the running water and allow it to rinse out. I'm also going to rinse out the cartridge that I've been using because I'm changing the type of ink. If this was already in this cartridge, I wouldn't need to rinse the cartridge. And so I'll be right back. Okay, that took a little bit, and there's quite a bit of water in the barrel of the pen, so it may take a bit for the ink to come down through there. It might not write immediately. It may have to, I may need to draw out some of that water over time. The cartridge emptied out real nice. It took a little bit because there's a little ball in this cartridge. It's what keeps the ink from coming out in the beginning before you puncture it. Now then, we have to put the needle on the syringe. They just twist on. And I have been forewarned that this particular ink can come very, very full. So I have a nice big pile of napkins, and my desk is protected with my Teflon sheet protector. Ooh, it's a pretty color. Now that cartridge is not very big. So I'm not sure exactly how much ink it will take. Let's get a little bit more. I can always put it back into the jar from the syringe. And you want to do this very slowly. I don't think you can see. There we go. Okay. I barely used anything out of that jar of ink. So and we have put our pen back together. Okay, now I will have to clean out my syringe when I finish, and we're going to have to wait a few minutes for the pen to get the ink down through it. Now that happens whenever you refill a pen. As I said, I think there's water in this pen anyway, so the ink is not going to come out as dark as it might for just a few minutes, because it's probably watered down. I'm going to use my little jar that I sit the pins in. And I'm going to stop the video for a few minutes and leave the pin sitting upright just like that. And I will be back after I clean out my syringe. You also want to make sure you put your lid back on your ink bottle very tightly. Okay, the syringe was very easy to wash out. I just pulled it apart. I will take it apart to let it get dry, put it away so I can use it the next time. The one thing I will tell you is I already can see some playtime because with the ink in the syringe, I had already squished it back into the bottle, but there was a little tiny bit left in the syringe, and I can see that it will be fun to make bubbles with and play with on paper. So I will be playing with that a little bit. I will also be testing the permanency of this particular ink. The pen is ready to go. And one of the things I was worried about with this ink was it's bleeding through. So this is really cheap paper. And if there is any water left in the pen, it's not causing any issues. And it's not really bleeding through. I mean, there's a shadow, but it doesn't bleed through. So I'm thinking this is going to be ink that I'm happy with. You do want to let it dry completely before you test it. So I'll be testing how waterproof this actually is. But I'm really happy with that method. I imagine that over time that this little cartridge will wear, and I'll have to buy the converter or more cartridges. I also think you can buy empty cartridges. I'm not sure. I really, that works very, very nicely, so I'm very pleased with it. Anyways, guys, go have fun. Make some art. Bye-bye.